welcome to Hiker Homily. I think we're up to number 9 now for the week of February 26th. Hopefully you can hear me over the wind. Shooting a little bit of the introduction outside for a couple of reasons. Number one, last week I talked about urban hikes, and that's what I'm on basically right now. Actually, I'm kind of more of a walk today, but as you can see, this is an urban hike. I got the Delta on one side, really nice, and then I've got residential on this one side, and got a path going down the middle. That's urban hiking right there. And the other reason is it's a little different. I like to do something different every once in a while. So the introduction for this one's on location. Got a good hiker topic for you this week. And a couple of changes of plan. I'm definitely looking forward to the hike I was going to do at the end of this week. It was going to be on Saturday, Fremont Peak to Sunol Regional Park. Unfortunately, the other reason I'm out here right now is because we have a storm front moving in. We've got a break today. As you can see, it's kind of nice except for the wind, which has a bit of a bite to it, but it's nice out here. But for like the next 3 days, including Saturday, we're talking about heavy rain and thunderstorms. Now, if there was like forecast for light rain, I'd probably go ahead and just do it anyway. But Saturday, they're talking about that wind again, thunderstorms. So, more than likely, it looks like I'm going to put off that hike probably at least another week. I tell you what, sometimes the weather conspires, but that's how it goes. But fortunately, the hiking club I'm a member of is having a hike on the following Sunday. I was going to do both. I was going to do 2 hikes in a row. But Sunday is forecast to be clear, so I'm probably still going to do that one. So I'll still get a good hike in this week, coming up on Sunday. And then the following week, I think I'm going to shoot for, or soon thereafter, I will shoot for finally doing Fremont Peak to Sunol. But that's another reason why I'm out here right now, is I'm trying to take advantage of the in-between storms. We had a big one yesterday, a lot of rain, which is good. I'm not going to complain. California needs it. There's a lot of snow dumped on the Sierras lately. That's awesome. We needed that. So I'm happy about that. But it does get in the way of hiking sometimes. And the next big storm is due in a day or two, and that's going to last for several days, including Saturday. So there we go. I'm out here right now doing that to try and get in between the storms. But so here we go, Hiker Homily number 9. All right, I'm back inside, out of the wind. Had a good 4 miles. That's not a bad little, just a simple, basically walk workout thing for today. Trying to get some miles in because, like I say, some storms are coming that have kind of thrown a wrench into some of my hiking plans, but we'll make it work. Got to. But for this week's hiker topic, I wanted to talk about thru-hiking, or what is a thru-hike, basically. And before I do that, I want to hit you with a little anecdote that kind of gets passed around. And you can apply this to a lot of different groups. I'm in, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool science fiction geek. I'm a horror movie fan and have been since I was a kid. And you can apply this kind of thing to saying to those groups as well, stuff like that. But with hikers, the saying that I have used a few times in several forums is, if you ask 5 hikers, what is blank, and I mean fill in the blank, or how do you, any kind of a question like that requires an opinion, more than a yes or no answer. What is this? Ask 5 of them that question, you're going to get 6 different answers. Okay? And when humans get together in these little cultures, these little communities, that we form and stuff like that. Everybody wants to have a special opinion, and yeah, sometimes it's hard to get any kind of agreement. And it's the same thing with, if you just ask a simple question on any backpacker forum, what is a through hike, you are going to get different answers. Okay? Because in some ways it is a bit of a personal thing, and it also depends on the trail. If you look up the Pacific Crest Trail Association, the Appalachian Trail, I can't remember if they're an association or what they are, but the group that kind of covers the Appalachian Trail, the CDT Trail, you name the big trails, and their little trail association or group that kind of helps maintain them and keep track of the trail and stuff like that and promotes it, will usually have their definition of, to through hike this trail, this is what you got to do. Okay? But there's all kinds of other personal things, and there's reasons for that. There are reasons why it's not always just the same answer. For example, a through hike of the Pacific Crest Trail generally is considered, you start at one of the terminuses, either Campo down on the Mexican border or up on the Canadian border, and you hike the whole thing in one season. 2,650 miles, okay? That would be a through hike of the PCT. For especially, I think that's even according to the, in one season. So in other words, yeah, you can like do 3 months of it, get off for like 4 weeks, and then get back on the trail. As long as you've completed it in the hiking season, it's considered a through hike and stuff like that. Now, also a through hike, if I start on the Tahoe Rim Trail and I do the whole circle all the way around, that's a through hike, 165 miles. Now, if I did 165 miles on the PCT, I'm a section hiker. So you see where some of the thing is? It's a through hike if you complete the set trail, whatever it is. And the length, I guess, doesn't really matter. But for some people it does. Because I tell you what, it shouldn't really make a difference. But unfortunately, to some people, it really does. Okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you hike for 2 months straight and pretty much get done with the entire desert section, that's a hell of an achievement. Would it be considered a through hike of the PCT? No, because you didn't do the whole PCT. You didn't even do half of it. Okay? But you were out there for 2 months and you did close to 700 miles if you do the entire desert section. And that's one of the things I'm thinking about doing. And that's a heck of a feat all on its own. But there's a lot of people out there, yeah, but that's not a through hike. Not a through hike. Nope. Okay, fine. It's not a through hike. But the thing that goes with it is yeah, you're right. And if I do that, if I end up going and do what I'm thinking about doing, and big sections at a time, I'm not going to claim it to be a big, amazing through hike. What I'm going to claim it to be is a lot of fun, and I had a good time. I did the entire desert section. I did all the Sierras, and then I did, Oregon and Washington. I'm thinking about splitting up the PCT in that. And if that means I didn't through hike the whole thing officially, oh well. But you know what? I saw the same stuff that the through hikers saw and did a lot of the same things they did, made the stops, I did resupplies. Did I spread it out a little more in a longer amount of time? Yeah, I did. I took bigger breaks in between sections, in other words. And if that means it's not considered a through hike of the PCT, oh well. As far as I'm concerned, I walked the PCT. I did. I did it in giant chunks, but I still walked the whole thing. But there's some people out there, and again, it's not the terminology really. If you don't want to call it a through hike, then that's fine. I won't call it a through hike. You don't have to call it a through hike. But the way they come at you, you didn't through hike it though. Okay, calm down. I didn't through hike it because they did it all in one season, and that makes them extra special. As far as, and they want to make sure everybody knows. That's the thing. If you do through hike that PCT 2,650 miles all in one season, that is freaking amazing. That is special. I watch folks on YouTube. I'm a fan. There's several YouTubers out there that I watch do it. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I may even do it myself. I may not split it up into chunks. I may do the whole thing, or at least attempt it, and things like that. But none of them came out of it saying, yeah, look at all these little section hikers. I did the whole thing. That's not how they did it. And they didn't have that attitude. They absolutely did not. But there are folks out there that do. And that gets into a whole other subject of hiker elitism. And I'm going to talk about that in one of these hiker homilies. But, so, a through hike, generally for, hikerdom, generally a through hike is considered completing an entire long trail. Usually the trail has to be over 100 miles or so. There is no official set limit. That's the thing, is each trail's kind of on its own. So like I said, the through hike of the Tahoe Rim Trail is 165 miles because the Tahoe Rim Trail is that long. A through hike of the PCT is 2,650 miles. A through hike of the AT, a little over 2,000 miles, etc., etc. Okay? So yeah, a through hike is not a set distance. A through hike is doing a long trail. Usually it has to be a distance that involves a resupply. You have to start resupplying and things like that. And the Tahoe Rim Trail, if you kind of do it that way, you usually resupply at least once. Some will do it more, depending on what they can carry, what they want to carry, but at least once you're going to resupply and things like that. Now, the Kings Coast, the Lost Coast Trail that I'm going to be doing this summer, we're going to do that in 4 days. It's 25 miles, so we're going to be doing little chunks. I would not consider that a through hike because there's no resupply. I can carry all my food for the entire trip in my pack and things like that. So, am I going to complete the whole trail? Absolutely. But see, that's a good thing. There are some people out there who would consider that a through hike. I through hiked the Lost Coast Trail. Yeah, it's only 25 miles, but it's a set trail, and I was gone for this long, and I did the whole thing, so I through hiked it. Yeah, technically you did. You sure did. But for a lot of people, a through hike is over 100 miles and requires some kind of resupply or something like that. There's a lot of folks out there, though, that can do 100 miles without a resupply. I could do 100 miles without a resupply. I'm pretty sure I could. I could carry that much food. Because, and again, it depends on the speed you're going. If you're doing 10 miles a day, you're going to be out there for 10 days. 10 days worth of food is, you're stretching it. That's a lot of food to carry. But if you're doing 15, 20 mile days, you're done in between 5 and 7 days. You can carry that much food in your pack. It's going to be heavy starting out, but it's going to get lighter as you eat. And so it can be done without a resupply. So, that's why there's no really official thing, because, there's all kinds of variables in there. But a through hike basically is you're going to go on one of these long trails. You're going to do the whole trail within a hiking season. And see, there's another reason why there's so many different answers is because what is a hiking season? A hiking season for the Central Valley, not counting the mountains and stuff like that, is almost all year round. Okay? We get the occasional rain season that kind of puts a damper on things, but for the most part, in the Central Valley here, the hiking season is all year round. There's no reason why I couldn't hike. There's just not a whole lot of trails I can do in the exact Central Valley. They're all in the hills surrounding me and stuff like that. In the Sierras, the hiking season is generally spring, when you're getting the thaw going, through late summer, early fall. When they start getting snow and stuff like that. Generally when the snow hits is, hiking season's over. It's a pretty long hiking season. Hiking season down in the desert technically is almost year round. Because you're not going to get snow that's going to stop you and things like that for the most part. You're going to have some cold temperatures to deal with at night when you get into the quote-unquote winter time. And you have some high heat to deal with in the summer times, but if you're smart and you have the right supplies and precautions and training, you can almost hike all year round in places like Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, a lot of those areas. Mountains, not so much. East Coast and up in the north, their hiking season cuts off when they start hitting, snow. But then even on top of that, there are still people out there that snow does not stop them. They don't care. They have snowshoes. They put on their pack and they go hiking in the snow. They don't care. So for some people, hiking season is all year round. So there you go. A through hike is you complete the trail within hiking season. Okay, but hiking season is different for geological locations and per person. For some people, there's no stop to hiking season. They'll hike. Rain, snow, sunshine, doesn't matter. They will hike. Okay, so how do you tell them that, oh, you didn't through hike it because you didn't get done by blah, blah, blah time, and hiking season ends in, September, and you got done in October? Baloney. That's what they'll tell you. So yeah, it's just odd, and that's why you get so many answers, because it ends up being an individual thing. So the dog's got new toys. Can you tell they're over there playing? You guys like those? Yeah. So through hiking is just that weird animal. So really, if you want to officially say official, and that's the thing, is who's the officials? Well, when you're talking about a big trail like the Pacific Crest Trail, the Arizona Trail, the Colorado Trail, Appalachian Trail, Continental Divide Trail, they all have Tahoe Rim Trail. They all have associations and groups that help promote them and keep track of things. And you can even, like for the Tahoe Rim Trail, when you do it, you can contact them and get a little patch that says you completed the 165 miles and stuff like that. And they'll put you on the website as they're one of the people who completed it. And it's kind of an honor system. I don't know how else they can prove it, because they can't follow you down the trail every through hiker and stuff like that. But they all have their own rules set that for them a through hike is this, and they'll define it and things like that. And so, regardless of what your personal definition of what a through hike is, if you want to officially claim that you through hiked a certain trail, then you need to check with that trail's organization and find out what they consider a through hike. Because like I say, my personal thing, if it's over 100 miles and you had to do at least one resupply, it's a through hike. And so as far as I'm concerned, like if I do the thing in chunks, maybe I won't hike the PCT and call it a through hike, but I'll do a desert through hike, 700 miles. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty dang good. It's quite an achievement, especially for me. That would be the longest I've ever been out backpacking in one time. I'll do it in 2 or 3 months, and it'll be a little over 700 miles. I'm actually thinking about maybe doing 1,000. I'm thinking about doing the desert and then getting into the Sierras all the way up to about Sonora Pass, which is close to the 1,000-mile marker for the PCT. And I don't know. I'll get into that in another hiker homily, my plans for the PCT. But how can you say that that's not a through hike? It's not a through hike of the PCT, I'll give you that, because the PCT is 2,650 miles long. I get that. But I'm still out there for 3 months, and I'm out there, which is, 3 months is like 3 times the amount you'd be out there for Tahoe Rim Trail. And that's a through hike. Tahoe Rim Trail is a through hike, and you're out there for maybe 2 weeks. If you're kind of just cruising, 2 weeks. That's considered a through hike. You can do the Arizona Trail, I think, in about a week, 2 weeks. Same thing with the Colorado Trail. Those are all considered through hikes. What's up with that? So if I do 700 miles and I'm out there for 3 months, all the way for the first 1,000 miles, why is that not a through hike? Maybe it's not a through hike of the PCT, but it's a through hike of this section. And that's hard, because you're considered a section hiker. I've hiked 10 times longer than I would on the Tahoe Rim Trail, but it's still a section hike. Weird. And that's why you get into this whole situation of, why there's different answers for what is a through hike. So really the best thing you can do is go by your own personal thing. If you're having fun out there hiking, that's the key. It doesn't matter if it's a through hike, if it's a section hike, if it's a day hike. If you like it, then do it. Have fun doing it. Enjoy it. Do what you can. Because for me, that's the thing. It's my own limitation. If I decide to do the Pacific Crest Trail in big chunks, it's the only reason I'm doing it is my own limitations. And that's why when I go over what I'm thinking about for the Pacific Crest Trail, why I'm going to do what I might do, there are reasons for it. And there it is. It's just your personal reasons. So if you want to officially claim you've through hiked a certain trail, then find out what that trail's organization considers a through hike. Find out and then achieve that, and you can officially say you through hiked it. Otherwise, tell people, yeah, I did the PCT. I did this section in 2019, this section in 2020, this section in 2021. I still walk the PCT. Don't call it a through hike if you don't want to, but I walk the PCT. So, and that's kind of how it goes. And people get irked about that. Up there thinking you're... No, I'm not thinking anything. I'm thinking I walked the PCT. I spread it out over a long time, but I walked it. You know, there's folks out there now that are section hiking it 50, 60 miles at a time. And they'll eventually do the whole thing, and power to them, gosh dang it. So, there you go, through hikes. It's not a clear-cut black and white issue, like most things in the hiking world I have seen. And I might get into, that's a whole other hiker homily thing, how I have perceived how some things have changed in the hiking world. Because a lot of this stuff, when I started hiking back in the 80s, way back in the day, when you kids was just a dream in your parents' mind. No, it is though. There's some different attitudes of some hikers that are out there. Or maybe it's not different attitudes. Maybe it's the fact that with technology now, and we're all able to meet together more online and things like that, you just meet the minority that are like that are just these hardcore, this is how it's gonna be, type of attitude, you know? Because I didn't meet any when I was doing this in the 80s when I was younger, but then the only ones I met was when we were on the trail. We'd all meet together and it was all down to earth, and there was no debates over what was a through hike and what wasn't a through hike. And I mean, half the time there you're still trying to find trails. They weren't completely blazed yet. But yeah, it's just, you know, weird how things have changed, and maybe that's another hiker homily subject. But for now, through hikes. They're really cool, they're exciting, but their exact definition can sometimes depend on what trail you're doing and what that trails organization considers it and what you want to consider it. So there it is. There's no clear-cut answer for through hikes. But I wanted to kind of throw that out there because I know I've mentioned it several times, you know, that I'm going to through hike this, I'm going to through hike that. And folks who are not regular hikers might not know what heck a through hike is. So there you go. That's through hiking. And you know what? That's going to take care of business for Hiker Homily this week. So I hope you got something out of that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you agree with my take on through hiking, what it is, or if it frustrates you as well, the kind of different definitions of through hike depending on how things go, let me know in comments. As always, you can get a hold of me on email at hikingforhealthca@gmail.com. You can leave comments below, Instagram or Facebook as well. And that's about it. I will see you next week.